Recorded.
So we have gathered here to talk about something which is going to be very helpful for people uh, who are from any part of the industry, right? Who are not even a part of the IT industry but want to make a transition to IT. That will actually be very helpful, right? So we are going to talk about a specific topic today, which is CCNA, right? Now, what is CCNA? CCNA is basically a certification by Cisco. Uh, it's considered to be one of the most promising certifications in the IT industry. Reason being, it is very helpful for freshers to break into the IT industry. It is very helpful for people who are already in the IT industry and they want to, accelerate their career growth. Uh, it's also helpful for people who are experienced enough, but they want a salary hike. So CCNA is basically a certification that is going to prove their proficiency in the field, right? So CCNA is a certification by Cisco. Cisco is an IT giant, right? It it is a big name in routing, switching, and now in the data center technology. So the CCNA course is basically going to give you a foundation, right? In this course that we are going to provide, we are basically going to establish the foundation through which you'll be able to understand the IT industry in general. You'll be able to work with different devices, for example, routers, switches, and then if you want to move to virtualization or if you want to move to cyber security, if you want to move to cloud, you can do that very easily. So who is this? Who can take this course? This course is designed for whom? So if you have basic IT knowledge, if you have just graduated from your college and you want to start a career in IT or you want to start a tech career, this is the certification. This is the certification that you should be taking. You want to learn how networks work, how the network is going to function. You'll have to take CCNA or you can take this course. You have started your career in IT, but you are at an L1 level. You are at a help desk technician level. You want to work as a network administrator. This is the certification for you, right? So this is the certification that you have to take. You already have CCNA, you have taken certifications before as well, and now you want to uh, renew it because after every 3 years, this certification gets expired. So, and you want better job opportunities, you want to adapt yourself with the upcoming domains. This is the certification or this is the course that you have to take. Now you are already an IT professional, you have ample years of experience, but with new technologies coming up, for example, in networks, we are now dealing with automation and programming, we are dealing with virtualization of networks, and you want to understand that at a basic or a fundamental level, then this course is designed for you, right? So this is basically, as you can see here, this is basically the roadmap for the best IT career out there. If you're starting out as a fresher, let me just use my pen here. Just give me a minute. I'll attach my pen, my writing pad. You're going to start here at CCNA, right? Now, by taking this certification, you'll be able to understand multiple things. How networks work, how data centers work, how do the wireless technologies work. And with this, you will also be able to understand the basics of programming. in the IT industry. For example, you're going to learn Python here for automation. You're going to work with protocols like NetMiko, Ansible, etc. to understand how automation is going to work. After you take this certification, you have endless opportunities, right? So if you want to work for ISPs, then you can take the service provider specializations by Cisco. If you want to work in a data center and you want to go into the industry of virtualization, you can either take Cisco data center certifications, or if you want, you can take any other certification as well, like VMware VCTA, VMware VCP, right? And then if you want to go into security, then Cisco has its own security certification stack, starting from CyberOps to CCNP security and others. But let's say you don't want to take any security certifications by Cisco, then you can take any other certification, like you can take CEH or OSCP or EJPT. So basically this certification is going to open a lot of doors for you. That is what I'm trying to say. If you are a graduate, then this certification will be the best one out there, because let's say you are a graduate, so there are two options available to you. One is to make a career as a developer, and most of the students, when they have to get a job as a developer, they usually study from the beginning of their first semester, right? They'll indulge themselves in competitive programming, they'll indulge themselves in hackathon. But if you think that programming is not a cup of tea for you, then you should study networking, because even without the knowledge of coding, you can make a good amount of money in the IT industry. And CCNA is that one certification that will open up a lot of doors for you, right? Let's look at the certification, right? So this is CCNA. This is the official page of Cisco, learningnetwork.cisco.com. I am going to share this link with you guys in the chat box. Just let me know if you have received it. Okay, so you can go through this page and look at the syllabus here. Now this is CCNA 200301. What is 200301? Let me tell you about it. So I'll tell you about my story. So when I took CCNA, I did that in 2017. So in 2017, Cisco certification track was very different from what it is right now. In 2017, when you would go out and take a certification, you would have to decide which one to take. So at that time, the certification that was available was 200125, and that covered only one track. The track that it covered was routing and switching. There were other tracks as well. So if you wanted to learn voice over IP, then you would have to go with some other Cisco certification. If you wanted to learn wireless technologies, then you would have to go with some other CCNA track. If you had to learn security, like CCNA security, then there was a different certification for that. Now, at this point of time, starting February 2020, Cisco decided to create a single CCNA exam. And inside that exam, they have added they have actually added all the different tracks and combined them, and they have combined them into one. Okay. So as you can see here, from 1 to 4, that's the original CCNA routing and switching syllabus. But after that, they have now included security fundamentals and automation and programmability. All right, so that's the new CCNA syllabus. So in the network fundamentals, we are basically going to learn the different models. Can anyone here tell me the different models, the different standardized models used for computer networking? Yes, can anyone tell me? Yes, Sanjeev. There's TCP/IP and there's one more. Can you tell me about it? So the reference model is definitely TCP/IP, but there's one more, right? So you also have the OSI model. Okay. Here we are going to study OSI and TCP/IP, and in addition to that, we are going to understand the basic components like what is a router, what is a switch, and these days switches come in two categories: L2 switches and L3 switches. L3 switches are those that can basically able to connect at layer number 3 or the network layer, and they are able to perform the function of inter-VLAN routing. That is something that we are going to study in our classes. Okay, then we are going to look at the different architectures. So here we will be dealing with topologies. So can anyone tell me about some of the topologies that are there in computer networking? Yes, Amaresh, Sanjeev, can you tell me about it? Yep, star, mesh, ring, right? Then we have hybrid topologies as well. So all these architectures that you are seeing here are basically advanced versions of star, mesh, and ring. Okay, now we have two-tier architecture, three-tier architecture, spine leaf architecture, and usually we just had LANs. Right now there's a new category, small office, home office, which is sort of a LAN. Okay, and then we also have to look at on premises and cloud. Yes, Venkatesh, you had a question. Okay. In addition to this, we have to study one more model here. So does anyone know about that model? We talked about TCP/IP, OSI. There's one more model. Does anyone know about it? Where the standards for cabling were laid out. Where standards for cabling were laid out. Do you know about it? Anyone? So anyone wants to try? Which one am I talking about? Okay. So there's a project called IEEE 802 project. IEEE 802 project, through which we got the standards for Ethernet, through which we got the standards for Wi-Fi, through which we got the standards for Bluetooth, and others as well, like spanning tree protocols, RSTP, etc., etc. After that, we are going to study the different types of addresses, right? So basically, we have IPv4 addresses and IPv6 addresses. That is what works at layer number 3. But can anyone tell me about addresses, any other sort of addresses? Your devices also have those addresses. IP, we know about IP, Sanjeev. So there's one more set of addresses, which is fixed, which cannot be changed, which is a hard-coded address, different for every device. So I'm talking about MAC addresses. Did you get it? MAC addresses are those that are hard-coded, onto every device, they work at there too, right? So this is just some of the stuff that we are going to learn in topic number 1, which is network fundamentals. Then comes network access. So here we are going to study what happens inside a network, right? How does access happen? What are the different protocols? Like what is a VLAN, right? How does virtual LANs work? What is STP? How do we prevent the problems for looping? How do we aggregate different channels and links, right? So that is going to be discussed in section number 2, where we are going to study the data links there in detail. Then comes IP connectivity. Okay. So in IP connectivity, we are going to understand the basics associated with routing. So what is dynamic routing? What is static routing? And if we are going to work with dynamic routing, which kind of protocols are we going to work with? What is an autonomous system? What is an IGP? What is an EGP, right? So all that is going to be discussed in section number 3, IP connectivity. Then comes IP services. Here we are going to study the very popular protocols like FTP, TFTP, SSH, Telnet. How does DHCP work? What is the function of SNMP? So SNMP is basically a network management protocol. Before we had SD-WAN, before we had SDN controllers, there used to be a protocol called SNMP. It's still in use and it is very useful in managing the network operations. So if you want to change a configuration, right, from somewhere, you can automate that using SNMP protocol. So topic 1 to topic 4 is basically the syllabus for CCNA R&S. Okay, like I said, they have now included security and automation inside their syllabus. So they have a different section for security where you'll be dealing with Wi-Fi security, right? So there are different security mechanisms in Wi-Fi. Can anyone tell me? All of you are using Wi-Fi. You set up authentication so that no one else is able to join your network. Can you just write down some of the protocols we use for Wi-Fi security? Okay, I'll tell you. One of them is WPA2 that you use at home. WPA2 PSK. Pre-shared key mechanism. There is one more that gets used with the radius servers, that is EAP. Can anyone tell me about the other mechanisms? Have you heard of WEP, WEP, which could easily be cracked with any Android brute forcing application? So there used to be Android applications for that, through which you could easily guess the passwords for WEP, right? So these are all Wi-Fi security protocols that I'm talking about, and we are going to discuss that in security fundamentals section, right? In addition to network security, we are also going to understand the basics of cybersecurity, like what are threats, what are vulnerabilities, what is an asset, right? What is a vulnerability that can affect that asset? How does it turn into a threat, right? So all of that is going to be discussed in this section called security fundamentals. Then comes the last section, which is one of my favorites. Here you're going to understand the basics of automation, right? And even if you don't have any programming knowledge, even if you don't know what is JSON, what are APIs, we are going to basically start from the scratch, right? We are going to study what are APIs, right? Because APIs are not new, right? APIs have existed ever since computers were invented, right? So if there is an application running on your device and it wants to communicate with any other application, right, it is going to make use of an API. So how does encoding happen? What is an HTTP verb? What are the different HTTP methods? All of that is going to be discussed in section number 6. So right now it might seem like that it's a very huge course, but we can easily finish it up in a month's time. That's it. Now, what I want to show you is my credentials, right? And I want to tell you how basically it works. How do certifications in Cisco work? So whenever you take a certification, like I took my certification in 2017, to be precise, September 22, 2017. So every certification is supposed to expire after 3 years. Okay, every certification will expire after 3 years. But you can see here that for my CCNA, it states that the expiration date is August 20, 2023. Why? Because after taking CCNA, I went ahead to take CCNP. So at my time, there were 3 different exams that you had to take in order to get your CCNP routing and switching. Okay. So for that, you will have to clear 3 different exams. One is routing, the other one is switching, the third one is troubleshooting. Okay. So I took my first exam on August 22, 2018, and the expiry date got, the date went ahead. Okay. After that, after taking 2 other exams, the last one that I took was in 2020, right? And that automatically renewed my certifications till Feb 2023. But when COVID started, Cisco automatically enhanced or automatically added 6 more months of the validity period. So it was supposed to expire. It is actually supposed to expire in February 2023, but because of COVID, Cisco added a new date, which is August 2023. Okay. And now if you think like, how can you verify this? So this certification cannot be faked, or it cannot be forged. So if I open up the PDF certificate here for you guys. So basically this is my certification, and it tells me that I got certified in 2017, and it is valid till August 30, 2023. There's the Cisco ID, right? There's the Cisco ID number, which is associated with every certification, right? So when you take the certification and you pass it successfully, you're going to get your Cisco ID number. And when you sit at interviews or you want to renew your certification, this is the Cisco ID that will be used throughout. Okay. And when you take an interview, obviously the organization is going to verify it. Okay, it's going to verify your credentials, because a lot of people can say that they have CCNA, they can just copy the certificate and present it to the organization. So basically there's a verification number here with every certification, through which you can go ahead to this website, add this number, and it will give you the complete details of who got certified, when they got certified, do they have other certifications as well or not. Okay. Now that we have talked about the syllabus, it's not going to be theoretical at all. Okay, because with each topic we are going to perform a certain set of labs. So there are around 75 to 80 labs for CCNA, right? If you have to take the examination, right? If you take the examination is just going to be of 2 hours, and you get around 60 to 70 questions here, right? Not more than that. So when you're taking this exam, you are only going to get MCQ questions, right? Multiple choice questions, no labs. But when I took this exam in 2017, and I told you that there was a different certification code for CCNA, there used to be 3 labs in the exam. And no matter if you got all the MCQs right, but you did not attempt any lab, you wouldn't pass the exam, right? So labs are necessary not just for the exam, they're also necessary for cracking the interviews, because these days whenever they are taking interviews, they will make you share your screen and perform a small practical through maybe packet tracer. Okay, now what is packet tracer? I'll just show you. So labs are very necessary to understand how basically networks are going to function. How will you connect different networks? How will you connect different networking devices? So now I have a small lab that I just want to show you how a lab looks like here. So if I go to ospf.packet, so this is a lab that we'll be working on in our classes. And the tool that I'm using here is free of cost. It is known as Cisco Packet Tracer. Okay. It's a simulation tool used for understanding the Cisco products, how they are going to work and how you can make these configurations. And it's a really great tool. Why? Because you are able to do each and everything here. You can look at the physical view, right? You can see how the server room will look like. If I try to zoom in, you're able to see that there are different types of devices, different routers connected to power devices, right? Power distribution device, and that's a switch. Okay. When you're going to learn concepts related to Cisco, you are going to work with this view called logical view, where you are able to open up any device of your choice. And if I click on it, there is something here called CLI, command line interface. So every device here is using an operating system, right? Whether it's a router or it's a switch. So they are working with an operating system basically. If you write, that's a command, okay? And if you hit question mark and you don't know what to do with this device, you can basically see all the commands that you can enter here, okay? So every device comes with its own operating system known as the Cisco IOS, Cisco Internet Working Operating System. We have to learn Cisco CLI in order to configure different routing protocols, different switching protocols, and whatnot. Okay. This is a simple lab where we are supposed to configure OSPF in this topology. So OSPF is known as a routing protocol, which we will discuss in our upcoming classes. Right, so this is OSPF, and how can you get the same view on your device? For this, you'll have to go to, you just have to write packet tracer. When you write packet tracer, you're going to get the first thing. You have to go to the first thing, which is Cisco Networking Academy. So the name of the website is netacad.com. So I'll copy it in the chat box and send it to all of you. This is the website through which you can download Packet Tracer. Now, in order to download the tool, you just have to enroll yourself in this course called Introduction to Packet Tracer, and it's a free course. It's a 10-hour course, and I would recommend all of you to enroll for this so that you understand how this tool is going to work. So when you enroll yourself in this course, you can download Packet Tracer easily. Okay. Once you download Packet Tracer, this is what you will get. Okay, so let me click on new window. New, and this is Packet Tracer for you. Okay. You want to bring in any device, you want to bring a PC here, you can do that. You want to bring a router here, you want to bring a switch, you want to connect them, you can easily do that. So basically there are different cabling standards for different devices. Okay, so if you connect a router to a switch, you connect it using a certain type of a cable known as straight through cable. If you connect a switch to a switch, then you connect them using a cable known as crossover cable. What's the reason behind that? We are also going to look into it in our course. Right, so this is how you can bring up devices. If you want to connect more components, you can do that. So like if you want to connect a server here, maybe a web server, you can do that. Okay, and after that, if you are unable to understand how they are working, so there is this mode called simulation mode. If I try to create a message here and I try to create a message and just send it here, obviously I'm going to get this error because the ports are not functional. Okay, but I'll show this mode of Cisco packet tracer from. So now what you can do here is, suppose I have a message and I want to send this message from here to here. You can actually check that via the simulation mode. You're able to see how this message is traveling. Okay. So you'll be able to understand how networking is, how the process of routing is happening here. And if you click on a particular packet, you're able to look at how the OSI model is working in the background, right? So those are the details related to OSI model for each and every message that you are sending. Okay. So when Sanjeev was talking about a model called OSI model, that's the same model. And you can see all the layers working here through packet tracer. Now, packet tracer is supposed to be a tool through which you can only work with Cisco products. Okay. CCNA is obviously the biggest certification in the is like the biggest associate level certification in the IT industry, but there are other vendors as well. So Cisco is obviously one of the best out there, but then you also have Juniper, okay? You have Fortinet, you have others as well, like Palo Alto. So what if you want to learn the concepts related to multiple vendors? What if you want to connect multiple vendors together? Suppose you want to connect a Juniper switch to a Cisco switch, and then to a Cisco router, and then to a Fortinet firewall. For that, you cannot use a tool like this, right? You cannot use Packet Tracer. For that, you will be using an emulator, okay? So this right here is an emulator known as EveNG. EveNG is basically a tool. It's basically a complete environment through which you can create your own labs, right? And once you have set these labs up, you can easily access them using your phone as well. So you just need your phone. You have to open up the browser, Chrome or anyone else or any other browser. All you need is a keyboard. So you can attach a wireless keyboard as well. And through that, you'll be able to connect different devices together. If you don't want to do that, and if your device does not have a good amount of resources, I'm talking about CPU and RAM. So if your device only has 8 GB of RAM, you can still use EVNG, but another alternative here can be GNS3. Okay, so GNS3 is basically a software used in enterprise environments. Now that we are going to prepare you for interviews and enterprise environments so that you land a job right after the completion of this course, will prepare you through GNS3 as well, because this is what is used in the organizations. Okay, so here all we need is an image, right? Like an ISO image of the router that we are working with, and we are going to understand how multiple vendors work with each other, right? Because with packet tracer, you can only learn Cisco products, nothing else. If you want to bring a new product, let's say Juniper or Fortinet or HP or Huawei, they won't be able to work here in packet tracer because packet tracer is a Cisco specific tool. And it's a simulator, right? It does not have any effect on the real world devices. So this is packet tracer for you. Okay. So that's all I have in mind for the presentation and for the session today. Now, I would encourage you to, ask questions if you have any pertaining to this certification or pertaining to how it can be useful for your career. Yes, anyone? Azeem, Amaresh, Pramareddy. Yeah, so CCNA exam fees is around $300 and it varies from country to country, right? So if you go to CCNA exam, when you have to book the exam, you do that through a website called Pearson VUE. Okay, so Pearson VUE is a major vendor for different types of examinations, right? So if you go to home.pearsonview.com and you click on Cisco, you can actually take the exam either from designated Pearson VUE centers, or you can also do that from your home. Before COVID, you could not take any exam from the home. You had to go to the you basically had to go to the exam center and take the exam from there. But now you can actually do it from the comfort of your home, right? So you need to download a tool called OnView. When you book the exam, they'll just give you each and every detail regarding how to take the exam, right? All you need is good internet connectivity. The proctor will check your room before you start the exam, and you'll have 120 minutes. And if you are a non-English, I mean, if you are a non-native English speaker, if you're not from a English speaking country, if you're not a native English speaker, or if you cannot speak Japanese, then you also get 30 extra minutes for this exam, right? That is how you're able to take CCNA, right? So after taxes, the amount comes out to be $354. But if you're a fresher, then the company won't ask you to take a certification, because they know that for a fresher who is straight away coming after graduation cannot bear the costs of the certification. So if you have the knowledge but not the certification, that is also okay, because organizations only look for certifications if you have experience on your resume, right? So if you have around 2 to 3 years of experience on your resume and you want to make a switch, so you started as a help desk technician, but now you want to start your career as a network administrator. So at that time, they will basically require you to have a certification before you join the organization, right? But as a fresher, no need to take the exam, because once you join the organization as an L1 network engineer, they will automatically help you in taking the exam, and they will reimburse the cost for you. Okay. So yes, Alim, what is the question that you have regarding CEH? So CEH is basically going to come in two forms, right? One is known as CEHANSI, which is the multiple choice question for CEH. Okay. The other one is known as CEH practical. Okay. So this is going to be ANSI exam for CEH. So this is the latest version, which is V11. So it has incorporated cloud security, malware analysis, IoT security in their certification now. So the name of the vendor is EC Council and CH is their certification, right? So if you clear two exams, one is CEH V11, the other one is CEH practical. Okay, so the fees associated with CEH, it basically differs, right? Because if you inquire it from EC Council, uh, they can also offer you a discount. So most of the times this certification goes for around $450. But currently they have this certification called CH Practical, which is being offered on scholarship. And this scholarship is available till 31st December. Okay. CEH scholarship. So this is the scholarship that is running right now till 31st December. So if you apply now, you will be able to get the scholarship, and you just have to pay $100 for the certification. That's it, $100, 6,000 rupees. Oh no, 7,000 rupees actually. Okay, so this scholarship is running till 30th December 2021. The voucher that you will get after getting this scholarship will be valid for an year, and you have one whole year to prepare. Okay, but this exam is not multiple choice based. Okay, this is going to be a live exam. You are going to be working in a live scenario. For example, let me show. So being a CEH instructor as well, so I have the lab access here with me. And the best thing about taking CEH is that you can take the exam from your browser. Okay, you do not have to set up Linux up or any other form of operating system up. You can have to take the exam from your browser. Okay, so even if you have a Windows device which has 2 GB of RAM, that's more than enough because you get the environment through your browser. Okay, so for example, this is the lab. I'll show you how it is going to work. So it's a heavy lab, very heavy lab. This lab requires 32.5 GB of RAM. Okay, they have their own infrastructure to deliver this lab, right? So this is a CEH module called scanning network. So you are supposed to understand how a port scanner called Nmap works and how Angry IP scanner is going to work. Through your browser, you get access to different operating systems. Like this is what this is Parrot OS, Parrot Linux. Okay, you can write any command that you want. You want to write ls, you want to write cd dot dot, you want to write pwd, you can do that. If you want to access Windows 10, this is your Windows 10 machine. This is the username here. This is the password. If I type in the password and I hit enter, I gain access to my Windows machine. Okay. Then you also have Active Directory hacking here. So you can gain access into Windows Server, Ubuntu, and there's a section for Android hacking as well. So you can gain access into Android devices. It's that easy. Okay. So this is the lab access that you require when you have to study for CEH practical examination. Okay, because the exam is 6 hours long. Okay, this exam is 6 hours long and you have to hack into some machines, and once you are done, you will be able to get the certificate. And if you clear both the certifications, CEH ANSI, which is the MCQ based certification, and you clear CEH practical, you get a certification called CEH Master. Understood, Alim? Okay. So anyone else who has any questions here? Nope. So cool then, guys. Thank you. What you can do is you can share your contact details here in the chat box so that we can update you on the course content, as well as we can provide you with the schedule regarding when we are going to start our sessions. Okay. So that's all. Thank you. Bye bye and take care.